Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, in Motor City Rocker Nation. Tis I, your host, Corben Simons, joined by Director of Social Media Marketing, once again, Parker Brown. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Clap. Clap at home, even if we can't even hear you.
Do it!
So like always, we got the three fun segments, the recap, the interview, and the very fun one today. You definitely don't want to miss that. And of course, we'll end it with the preview like always. So let's get into the fun of it, Parker. Let's recap this past weekend series against the Blue Ridge Bobcats. We both said it was must-win, and must-win indeed, ladies and gentlemen. They swept the two-game weekend series. They won on Friday, 3-2, in a shootout. That was my first shootout that I've been a part of in live watching the team, so that was very fun to experience. And also, I will say, too, just in general with hockey, I'm kind of happy that hockey's transitioned to it over the past couple of years when the 3v3 overtime, a little more electric, I will say, than having 5v5 out on the ice. Just for some reason, just seeing three guys duke it out with each other like that on both sides, I don't know. It does something for the blood, in my personal opinion.
Blood pressure's up.
Yes, it is, because it's just like one mistake by one person, and that 3v2 is a huge disadvantage. I don't know why. It's amazing in that regard. And then Saturday got the win 6-2. So let's start off with the Friday game, Parker. Like I said, 3-2 shootout win. My takeaway from it, how I would view it was, personally, Blue Ridge, they played great, but I feel like the Rockers should definitely kind of ran away with it a little bit more. It was very tight, and I guess in that way, in that sense, I kind of have to give Blue Ridge their flowers for that. Because like I said, their goalie was great. Everyone, it was the definition of, defense wins championship, defense wins games. It was just kind of, they weren't letting the Rockers have it. But what were your thoughts on it?
I think Gordy said it best. Wasn't the best game, but we got a win out of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes ugly wins are ugly wins, and you got to take the wins.
Oh, yeah.
However, it was definitely not the most exciting game, but it was exciting once we got into the shootout.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was, 4 rounds?
And literally it ended, the only goal scored ended on the final one by TJ Sneed.
Exactly. So that first night, I think, was kind of a, let's get back in the rhythm of it. Obviously, we can win this game, but I think it was good in the aspect where it kept everybody so in tune to what's going on, because it was a 2-2 game. We go overtime.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what really sold it for me that day, is that it was so tight, but as much as it shouldn't have been, we got to roll with it. We got the win.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was, I basically feel the same way, and I agree, and if it's an ugly ugly win, at least it still has the word win in it, because there are obviously such things as ugly losses, which who knows, maybe that's how Blue Ridge is feeling after Friday. But just absolutely electric, the stars of the game. We had all three. Third was Danny Vanderweel, 2 points, 2 assists. Second, Scott Coash, 1.1, 2 points. My bad, that's typo on me. He had 1 goal and 1 assist. And then the first was TJ Sneed with 1.1 goal, which I had said it was the game winner in the shootout. And I feel like that definitely, it was like you said, it was 4 rounds or whatever, that, just added on to the blood pressure rising to high levels, because you're excited to see Babin kind of stop, which he had a great game as well, 37 saves while allowing 2. Just doing Babin things at the end of the day, or Dark Knight things, I guess is the better way to put it, because he is the Dark Knight of the team. Shout out Batman. But yeah, no, he would stop the puck in the shootout, stop the shot, and then you would think, like, okay, here's our time. But then they stopped it, and then obviously TJ Sneed, he had the answer at the end of the day there. Goals scored by, in all, Scott Coash, Josh Cole, and TJ Sneed, and assists only from 2 people, 2 from Danny Vanderweel, and 1 from Scott Coash. All around, just a great way to start it, and, I'll definitely admit, as much as we were saying that it was a must-win game, I was, if you split the series, is what it is at the end of the day. And obviously I'll get into it more in the preview, with just the way with how the schedule's kind of building up. That was a game where, if you lost, is what it is, but, maybe we're able to sleep a little bit at night, is what I'm trying to say. But, yeah, Friday, great win all around. Saturday, not as close. Rockers, it was just
at all.
Yeah, it was just the Rockers, 6-2 win. Scored 2 goals in each period right there. That's called consistency right there on a different level. Once again, all 3 stars of the game belong to the Motor City Rockers. You had third being Pavel Spinstop, 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist. Second, TJ Sneak, 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist. And then the first being Scott Koash, 2 points, 2 goals.
Two guys that had both a great weekend. TJ Sneak and Scott Koash.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
oh, yeah. And isn't there some stat about TJ Sneak, like, ever since he's came back? Like,
he's only had 1 game since coming back where he's not had a point.
yeah, so he's just in a different level right now.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
And it's even like, Coach Gordy said, I think in the post-game press conference you after the Friday game, TJ steps up in ways to where, like, when it matters most right there.
Oh, yeah.
And, it's crucial to not only have a player be consistent, but consistent when the lights are at its brightest. Because obviously, as we keep alluding to, the playoffs are right around the corner. Literally next month they start, ladies and gentlemen.
Right on.
Yeah. And literally 10 games left, 10 games left. Well, after this upcoming weekend, so technically 13 and all. I got my math a little mixed up there. A goal scored by Scott Kovacs, like I said, with 2. TJ Snead, Pavel Spinstop, Jonathan Giuliano, who I think he's only had 1 2-point game ever since I got predicting it. So maybe I got to stop doing that.
But he's at a point.
Yeah, he is. So point nonetheless, but I think I'm jinxing a little bit. So obviously we'll see this the upcoming weekend because a little spoiler review. I just wanted to mention that at all. And then TJ Delaney with the goal and assist from TJ Snead, Pavel Spinstop, Josh Holton, Lane King, which isn't that his first point as a Rocker, if I'm not mistaken?
First point as a Rocker.
Yeah,
He
so
came off an amazing pass to deeply state.
yeah, and it was a crucial late game right there. In there, so just to kind of just further flip the game away, and Declan Conway getting the in the final assist category. All around, just a great weekend. You cannot complain about it whatsoever. Saturday was education night, so that was very, very fun. To be able to honor education at all levels of their teachers or whatever. I know you before the game were dealing with. If you want to kind of explain that to the viewers.
Yeah, I was doing a tour to the Langs Crews Public Schools TV and Broadcasting class I was actually formerly part of in high school. So being able to see my former teacher, Mr. Kaufman, and seeing the next generation of broadcasters and teaching about sports broadcasting, how I'm talking to Ben and Brady. That was a unique experience I've not really done before, but I was really happy to do it, and I hope they got a lot out of it.
Oh yeah, and obviously just kind of because not only were they able to be with you, like you said, being with Ben and Brady, and literally but they moved literally right next to us right there.
They're up here for a full period.
A full period was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just for a brief little moment. So
No.
yeah, they got the full VIP treatment at the end.
Yeah.
They got to go in a suite over there across the ice from us. But yeah, overall, great weekend. Like we both said last week in our preview, it was a must-win, and they did just that. So stay tuned because we have a very, very entertaining interview coming up. You guys do not want to miss that. All right, ladies and gentlemen in Rocker Nation, now it is time for the interview portion of the episode. I am joined by Elias Thompson, a.k.a. Big Sexy, is your nickname, as I've heard throughout the universe. So I guess let's start. How did you get the nickname Big Sexy? I feel like it's kind of an elite one to get.
Last year, Trev for Oilers, I'm pretty sure, I think it was him, because the YouTube video, and he came up with it, and then believe it or not, this is already off topic, we're going conspiracy already, but anyways, there's this thing called gematria. I can pull up and show you a gematria calculator. You type in my name Elias, that equals 35, so it's like words into numbers, numerical value. And you type in Big Sexy equals 35, so it was like all meant to be. Believe it or not, like it took to me pretty well, so
what you're saying
must have been meant.
So what you're saying is the stars align numerically.
Yep, sure did.
So that's the only time when numbers will ever, I guess, help out in a way, necessarily.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. But interesting. I mean, a calculator at the end of the day. Okay, that's something there.
I'm a genius.
So obviously, we'll get into some of the crazier questions later and whatnot down the road in this interview here. But let's go a little back in time for you here. Before starting your FPHL career, you had played for the Deacons in the Great Lakes Hockey League. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so just in general, before entering the FPHL, what did you learn from that league playing there for the Deacons, and what were some of the differences that you had realized from that league to this league that you're currently in?
Well, pretty much I went there. COVID, I was maybe going to play college at Niagara, ACHA, and then COVID hit. It was out of state, a lot of money. And, actually, if I would have done that, I'd be a senior right now. So, I never would have played pro or anything. I'm like, if I go play there, I'm going to end up here. So, anyways, I went and played, instead of playing college, went there. Played there for 2 seasons, which is, basically it's like a high school schedule. It's like 24 games. Play on the weekends like here. Some travel in that league. Actually, that league's not too, it's ran pretty good, so to say. Pretty good talent with COVID and stuff. We got some good talent with guys leaving their college teams, or my team. I was on third line there, and we were deep. We won the league actually the one year I was
really?
there. Yeah, so that was like the only championship team I was ever on.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, I mean, it's a pretty solid league. It's just, the guys, obviously, they're older, they got jobs, and it's basically how Giuliano comes here and plays. Like, obviously, he's an established older dude, and, they're all good hockey players, but obviously, they're just the time, like, we have practice every day isn't put into it. Other than that, it's pretty good. And I think that, that league could be, some teams in that league could be, as good as us if they, had, more focus directly on hockey, but.
Yeah. So, obviously, you saying that you had won the championship with the Deacons. Did you get a ring at all, by any chance?
No, I got to hold this trophy up and take a picture with it.
Okay.
That was about it, but yeah.
Okay, how did it feel to kind of, because with you saying that was the only, championship team that you've been on in your life, how did it feel to kind of get to that point, cross that finish line, and hold that trophy?
Well, it was my first year, and I came in, I think I played, maybe it was like a half season. I'm not sure when it started. But I came in, and it meant a lot more to the older guys, because I guess and especially the coach. I mean, I didn't really know much about it at the time, so to me it was cool. But then again, obviously my playing time was lower, and it was cool to win. But I didn't really know the situation, because it was more so like a tournament. It wasn't playoffs and what we have here, big series or anything like that. It was a weekend tournament, and if you end up playing the Sunday and the championship game, you win it.
Yeah.
So it was still cool, because I mean I haven't won. I think the last thing I won was a baseball tournament. 12 years old,
Yeah.
But yeah, it was neat.
Nice. And so obviously now fast forwarding to your FPHL career, all in all you have played a total of 77 games. You had 2 with Delaware briefly at the beginning of your career, and then ultimately have been with the Motor City Rockers ever since then. What is it meant to be a part of a team like the Rockers and kind of, helping reaching to these certain goals that the team wants?
It's great. Ever since I knew after I played those 2 games with Delaware, I was going to go somewhere, and somewhere in the league, anywhere I wanted to play again, So I can't, I'm not the type to hang them up. Obviously it fears me even now. I have no backup plan. There's a lot of playing sports, so I saw the new team coming out. It was the closest one to Wisconsin, where I'm from. Mm-hmm. I'm all right, I'm going to go try out there. Came here. It was great. Made it. Nick didn't know me. Gordy didn't know me. Nobody knew me. So it was cool. It worked out. And yeah, been here ever since. And yeah, it's just good. It's cool to be a part of. And this year, I think really we're deeper than we were last year, talent wise. And I think. If we dial in, it's all all comes down to the play, the series. We're in a good spot.
Yeah.
We stay in that spot, but if we can dial it in to win out the series, obviously win 2, and then win 3. Mm-hmm. Just go at it. It's gonna be right there.
Oh, yeah.
I think we got the group to do it. We gotta have guys that. I mean, if we're gonna be there, I would say we might as well do it. We're already in playoffs. We gotta win these 2, 3 weekends. It's not like the NHL where you got guys obviously got money and shit involved, but there's no for most of it, there's no yacht to look forward to, or trip to Vegas if we win it. But
just keeping it strictly
that's
hockey
what I'm saying. We're here,
yeah.
we're doing this, might as well win it, right?
Oh yeah,
give it our all at least.
And I usually ask us towards the end portion of the first couple interview questions I have, but I guess since we're on top about being with the team or whatever, what is your favorite aspect about being a Motor City Rocker?
It's just cool to see it from the start, I guess. You know, like, you know, I was here from day one type deal and see it evolve because it's, like, I mean, last year, this time, this would never be a thing. You know, it's really came a long way. You know, better crowds and things like that. You know, I like the area too. You know, it's you know, better than playing Port Huron, I'll tell you that. You know, pick a place to play, but yeah, it's just I liked every bit of it. You know, it's kind of because I can't really compare it to any other teams. I've only been on this one at this level, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be, you know, really anywhere else, to be honest.
Oh yeah, and what's your favorite part about living in the area of Fraser, I guess?
I mean, obviously there's a ton to do. Like, you know, you got the Red Wings down the road and stuff. You know, you got the summertime, springtime, late fall, Tigers. You know, obviously Lions were good this year.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big area. There's tons of stuff to explore.
Now, obviously, you mentioning the Lions here to go a little off topic, but that raised a question for me. You being from Wisconsin, are you a Packers fan or grew up one?
I'll root for them. You know, like for me, it's like, you know, I'm never too diehard about you know, a particular sports team unless I'm on it. You know, that's all I mean, that's the way I go about it. Obviously, I'll cheer for them, but
Yeah.
you know, Lions, they needed something this year. It's been long enough for them, and you know, for them to, you know, make a run like that is pretty cool. I was cheering for them when I was here, as long as I got money on them. You know, if I didn't have money on the other team, then obviously I'm not. But
So, if it's one thing that that I have realized in my short time being here, going on a couple of months now and whatnot, is you like to be a little chippy on the ice there. And one fight in particular was against Watertown.
Yeah.
Watertown, you had done the tarps off fight. So we talked about it in one of the episodes. Parker gave it because obviously he was at the game, so he gave us, like, in the crowd, like, you know, his thoughts on it. But now that we have the man, the myth, the legend that did it, run us through it, just because a crazy video that I stumbled on Instagram one night after the game.
yeah, you know, ever since I was 5 years old, I always wanted to fight shirtless for 1,000. Nah, so basically, you know, it's weird how this all happened because, you know, some fighters message each other, you know, on Instagram before the games, and, you know, you plan it out and stuff like that. But, you know, Schmidt, you know, this guy obviously he's well known, been doing it a long time, you know, highly respected fighter. I fought him this year. You know, this year the league's been a little less, you know, when it comes to, like, mixing it up with guys. Like last year I fought a lot more consistently. Like, I haven't had a fight since that fight.
Really?
It's been about a month and a half. But there's not as many guys that are willing to, like, to go like the way we do, where we set it up. And, you know, this year's been slow, you know, so to say. So I fought him already like 8-10 times up to this point. And every time it's like the same thing. So the first one, you know, this is the 4th time we're in Watertown this year. Usually we fight 2 times a game. So, like, you know, I'm down to fight however we're going to fight. But then he was like, hey, you want to do a first fight we did was like, you want to just do like me and Joe Pace used to. We just on through, we just go at each other. So that's the first one we did. You know, I'm like worried about it a little bit. I'm like, man, fuck. You know, I'm like, you know, on 3 we're gonna swing at each other's faces. We're gonna hold each other and just get hit. I'm like, man, this is such a good way to destroy a face. You know, like at a certain point, like, you know, if there's money involved, if there's good, like, you know, UFC, you gotta wait like 3 months in between your fights.
Yeah.
You know, minimum. You know, so then, you know, there's obviously a bigger cash reward. But like hockey fighting, first off, you don't have gloves on. And then you fight Friday, you play them Saturday, you're going to fight again. Like, it's, you know, I'm like, man, we're doing this right away. We're just going to go on 3, just start feeding each other. So we do it. Turns out not too bad. I put, like, tiger balm on my nose just in case, like, kind of, like, numb it just in case. And then he comes out for the second. After the end of the first, he was like, hey, what do I do when tarp's off? And the funniest part was me and Josh, like, Cole, were joking about in the hotel room that day beforehand. We're like, should me and Schmidt, like, do a wrestling match with our shirts off? We were just goofing around. You know how stupid that looked? Like 2 guys shirtless. You know, like do a wrestling match where you don't even punch, but you're just like grappling, like Roman Greco, where it's only the top. You only, you know, obviously grab the top half and stuff. But and then he goes, hey man, want to do the next one? You want to do one like tarps off? I'm like, you want to do one tarps off? I'm like, yeah. And it was so funny because we were talking about it. I'm like, dude, Josh, this is gonna happen. Tarps off. And like no one, like, I think everyone thought I was joking, probably. And then, like, I didn't even know, like, I didn't know if he was serious. So, like, I go out there, and he comes out, you know, we're skiing around, start of the second period, and he has nothing on. He has just his jersey. I don't even think he had elbow pads on. He had nothing. He had just his jersey. He's like, all right, dude, you ready to do this? I'm like, he's like, oh, I got nothing on. I'm serious. Let's go right away. I'm like, all right, I got all my stuff on. Like, he's like, all right, go to the bench, take it off. He goes, make sure your jersey doesn't hit the ice. Like still having like the honor system or whatever. So we drop the puck, go over to the bench. I'm sure like everyone's like, what in the hell is going on? I'm throwing all my gear, all my stuff in the bench. And like before that too, I'm like, what are we gonna do with our shirts off?
Oh yeah.
This is before the fact, and he's like, we're gonna box center ice. So we went out there and boxed. And I think the whole goal that day, like, it's crazy because we were laughing about it, like literally manifested it. Because me and Josh are sitting there, no contact with Schmidt, laughing about this fight that didn't even happen. We're just like imagining how stupid it'd be. Then all of a sudden, boom, this guy comes up and says that. It's like telekinesis right to his brain, So yeah, we boxed a little bit, and it was, it's boxing and there's a lot of missing going on.
Oh yeah.
A lot of jabbing and stuff. And now imagine being on skates.
Did you have the gloves on or no gloves?
We had nothing. Just,
okay.
Just shirts off, bare knuckle boxing, center ice, and yeah, he got me good once with a little hook there, and then I threw one right and I got him in the nose, and I spun around at the same time. But for the most part, it was just two guys just jabbing at each other pretty much, So yeah, it was crazy, man. I was laughing afterwards. I'm not, it took a lot of heat online, but I mean, I still don't even care. Like people, this is stupid, this is dumb. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, first off, nobody's saying that. Nobody that actually fought us, even Amesbury, we both fought him. He didn't go on there. So what are you guys doing? This is stupid. This is dumb. So I mean, nobody really. I never thought anything of it. Everyone thought it was, dumb. I'm sure. I don't know what management. I never heard nothing from Gordy or Nick. Mm-hmm. All I know that I haven't really seen there's too much ice time since. But so I can admit, imagine what they might have thought of it. But I don't know. I thought it was funny at the end of the day.
Now, obviously,
I think his goal was to go viral. I think that was his goal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Obviously, because like I said,
and it worked. It did work.
Oh yeah, because I wasn't obviously that was an away game for you guys. I wasn't in attendance for that, and I just go on Instagram and Parker had posted, and I was just like, what the. And I was just like, what the hell's going on?
I told him too. I was like, before the game, I'm like, dude, get your camera ready. I'm like, get ready.
Swear to God, he comes up to me, he's like, be ready. I'm like, for what?
I go, dude, you can't miss this. You can't.
Would you? So now, obviously, putting kind of adding a level of showmanship to that. Would you ever if the opportunity came up and they slid you a WWE contract, would you do it?
I thought about that a little bit. It's like maybe because it's you want to be known for certain things, and if this was the NHL and we took our shirts off. I probably would have thought about it a little bit, but it's here. It's obviously I got a good amount of notoriety, but no one really it's at the time everyone's sharing it online, but then it's gone. It's some people will remember it, but it's not that great. Usually saying no, being a WWE wrestler,
yeah,
it's do I want to be known for that? Which I know I could be really good at it. I know it.
What would your stage name be?
I don't know. Never thought about it that far.
Big Sexy.
Big Sexy, honestly. And even still for
Death Machine, Killer, Destroyer.
And that's the thing too. For a guy with the nickname of Big Sexy, and obviously you fight a lot, obviously you're getting hit in the face. Do you ever does that kind of influence you to fight a little harder to make sure that the face doesn't get all messed up?
One thing I do have, going for me is my wingspan's decent. So if I can even a guy like Wells who's 6'7", if I can get the right grip on him, and I talk real good, he's gonna have a hard time swinging at it. But most guys my height, my reach is pretty good. So if I can lock in my stiff arm, mm-hmm. Which the thing is too, I actually probably be a better fighter if I didn't care about. Obviously, I'm sure everyone cares about their face a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't want my nose to be crooked.
Oh yeah.
Last year it happened to me, and it's for 2 weeks you can't breathe out of it. It sucks. So it's for the reward, the risk to reward, I could still do pretty decent in a fight. I think I'd be a better fighter if I didn't care. But usually for me, with fighting, I'm not willing to take as many hits to give as many hits. So I'll hang out further, that way. Technically, I don't really destroy too many guys that way. Mm-hmm. Definitely could be better if I didn't care. But like, you know, for the most part, I'm trying to like, for the most part, not get hit. And then 2 is like, I mean, right now, like obviously there's been a little bit of a break, but sometimes you're playing teams with fighters. This year hasn't been that bad, but it's like if you're every weekend like taking a hit to the head, like, you know, bare knuckle, like eventually stuff's gonna get rearranged. You know?
Oh,
So
yeah.
we try to I try to preserve it as much as I can, hit them more than I get hit.
Yeah.
And you know, I've never really put too much effort into like getting better at like hockey fighting. And I think like, you know, if anything, you know, if I put effort into it, or if anybody puts effort into anything, you're gonna get better at it. And I'm sure I could, you know, we'll see. It's just a lot, you know, it's hard to train. Like obviously like UFC boxers, they got sparring partners. Like honestly, I think too with hockey fighting, like after practice we'll spar a little bit with the guys, like grapple. Basically we don't really throw, but just getting grips and then having their grip on you, and just, you know, learning different ways to like really like, because like you can watch technique videos and things like that, but once you got to really like feel it out.
Yeah.
Before you do it, you know, it's getting guys to, you know, pull them in a certain way so they drop their head, then their head moves forward, so you can, you know, come over the top real quick and hit them. And it's just hard to really find a guy to like do that with, for like, you know, obviously, and if you want to get good at it, it's going to take you more than 10 minutes after practice every once in a while. It's going to, you know, for an hour.
Yeah.
Like you literally think about it for an hour if you're doing that and really trying to find certain ways to land shots, don't get hit. I could be better at it. You know, it's just time and practice. That's why usually, I mean, even like guys that actually fight for a living, usually, you know, late 20s, if anything, early 30s is when they're like at their best.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it's going to take some years, but
So staying on topic of the nickname Big Sexy, I feel like that's going to be the episode's name, Big Sexy right here.
should I take my shirt off for the episode?
No, well,
So we got to get Twitch going or something. Dude,
But speaking of clothing in general, that kind of segues me into my next question here. I've seen you rock some pretty stylish fits. One being the fur coat.
that's
So like, does a good pregame fit matter to you? And if so, like, do you plan them out, or do you just kind of go in the closet, start grabbing? You're like, oh hell yeah, like this is.
I'm pretty quick at it.
Okay.
I'm pretty basic at it actually. One thing I'll say is like, you know, build some muscle. Everything looks twice as good as it should. You know, like I think that helps me with my legs and my squatting. Like I just throw on some jeans, they look all right. You know, but the thing is, I'd be better. I don't really care too much about that type of stuff. Actually, I need to update the wardrobe.
Okay.
Otherwise, you know, I'd probably be wearing better stuff at games lately. It's been pretty lazy. But actually, I ain't really too proud of it. But like, I wear shorts all year, pretty much. But yeah, I ruined, like, I gotta get a new pair of jeans. Like the ones that my go-tos have been like, pretty much. I ripped the crotch out of them doing the splits at a bar one night. I can somehow almost, I'd probably get about that high off the ground. I can somehow do that. But yeah, I got to update the wardrobe. I'd probably have a little better, you know, I care a little more for the games. I'd say yes, game day fit does matter. I like it. But right now I've been terrible, so I'm telling myself I don't like it.
Is that your
just
only?
to make me feel better.
Is that your only fur coat?
I got 2.
Oh, you got
Well,
two.
one ain't mine.
Okay.
One's my girlfriend's, and that was the original fur coat I wore. That one's super small. I don't know. Is that you see me in the white one or the leopard? Yeah, the white one. It's like, it's tiny. It's almost like a shirt, but I like it. You know, like, we'll see this weekend. I'll wear them both this weekend, just to make sure you guys see them. But then my other one's this big leopard one, and we were working at a food drive or like last year doing some volunteer stuff for the team. It was one of those like a Salvation Army. I don't know what it was, but I saw it. I'm like, look at this thing, you know. I'm like looking at it, and the guy, I'm like, how much for this coat? I'll give you, you know, I'll pay for it right now. I got to add to the collection. Only got one. They just gave it to me, so I've been wearing that one. That is the warmest coat though too. That is the best coat. You don't need a shirt. You don't need nothing underneath that. Just walk around with it, like, hangs on your knees. You're set.
Do you wear that like? Is that like your go-to jacket in the wintertime?
You know, I save them for occasions. Go-to bar jacket though.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And now speaking of, with you saying you tried the splits at the bar, have you always like tried to do the splits or master them, or is that just something you just did?
I just did them, and then somehow I think my groin's strong enough to be able to do it. I never do them. But if I'm there, like,
So it was like
usually I forgot who got me to do them one time, and I could do them, or somebody told me to try to do them, and then ever since, like, the boys are there and they'll say, well, do the splits. Usually, like, Josh or somebody that knows I can do the splits, or like, do the splits real quick. I'll like just drop down and do them. Last time though, ruined those pants, man. Those were nice.
So before we get into the fun and get to know you questions, which cannot wait to hear some of the answers for these. So why number 8? Why do you wear number 8?
So actually numerology, I didn't know it at the time, but it's weird because technically, so I'm born on the 17th, 1, 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Obviously, I always liked Ovechkin. Oddly enough, he's born on the 17th too.
Okay.
But like my whole life, like 8 or 11 have been numbers that, or like 17 is a cool number too. I'd wear that one, but like I just been like attracted to that number 8.
Okay.
Like I wore that was my first number as juniors I wore, and then this year like, when we were picking numbers, I remember that day. Like I'm like they're going, and nobody picked 8 yet. I'm like 8, that's a good hockey number. And I always like numbers like that too. Like I was surprised with because I was like one of the last to pick. And 8 was still left. I'm like, yeah, that was like going to be one of my number ones, 8 or 17 or something like that. So, but yeah, so that's kind of why it's weird because, like, I'm born on the 17th, which is an 8, but before that. And then there's, I'm trying to think who else on the team. Certain guys are naturally, like, I had a perfect example the other day. I can't really think of it off the top of my head right now, but, like, guys, like, it's weird. You'll be kind of, like, attracted to your number, the day you're born on, like subconsciously. And I always liked 8. Technically, I guess numerology is the number of money, and I don't know. You've been waiting on that one, but
so your hometown is in, correct me, Wautoma,
Wisconsin. Yeah,
Wautoma, Wisconsin. So I'm going to split this in kind of 2 questions here, and you can just branch out however you like. 1, what was your favorite thing to do there? And 2, what is your favorite major city around that area to visit, and why?
My favorite thing to do there, whole life, my whole life it's been, basically sports, any sort, shape, or form. Favorite thing to do there is probably just, back when I was a kid, shoot pucks in the yard. We live on a pond there, so when that froze in the winter, that was my favorite thing to do. In the town, it's like 2,000 people, so there's nothing really to do.
Okay.
But work out obviously just has been. I mean, that's probably like obviously that's my favorite things in life, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was my favorite stuff to do there. Our house is pretty cool because we got some land and stuff like that. When we were younger, do airsoft and paintball type stuff, fish sometimes, and it's all there. It's cool. It's a stream. We got some woods, and then after that, it's public land. So it just, as a kid growing up, I think it was the best place to actually, ever grow up, and just have that nature around you. And smaller town like that, obviously, you get a lot of playing time and sports and stuff. Baseball, that's probably the sport I'm actually, I haven't played it in a while, but that was probably definitely better than hockey. That was fun when I was younger. That's most of my memories in that town is like baseball park or playing baseball in the backyard.
What was your favorite position in baseball?
I used to pitch and shortstop.
Shortstop? Okay.
Yeah, I was. Hey man, I went to the cages this summer and they had a little radar gun. They got 85.
Okay.
With no warm up, no practice, whatever. So I'm like, hey, train this a little bit, get the mechanics down, we crack upper 90s. I'll be back. Tigers, America. Closer. That's what I want to be. I don't want to play. I don't want to do anything else other than hit if I had to, like DH if I, got the strokes back in line, hitting bombs. But closing pitcher, that's the best job ever.
So you're basically
1-2 innings, throw 100 miles per hour. It's not better.
So you're basically kind of like the inverse Shohei Ohtani, where you're still going to DH, but instead of starting pitching, you just want to close.
I just want to close. Like, think about that. You sit there, your team has lead, and they play your song. You run back, you run in. You got 1 inning, 2 innings at most to shut them down. That's a big sexy. That's a big sexy role. Coming out.
Well, what would your song?
It's like WWE,
What would your song be? if you could pick one right now?
Probably like some sort of like heavy metal.
Okay.
With like slow build up or something like that, or maybe EDM.
Would you try to intimidate fear, like to the batters, with your song? Like kind of like when they hear that song, they're like, oh shoot, like Elias is coming.
Oh, they're gonna know I'm coming if I'm throwing 105. They're already gonna be scared, but yeah, probably something like that.
Okay.
Something like a little bit serious and fearful, but also funny.
So, keeping it on to Wisconsin, I'm just kind of curious on this because obviously I've never been to. I've only flown over it, going to Minnesota or whatnot. Do all Wisconsiners like cheese? Is that just?
I guess all girls too.
Are you a fan
My
of
girlfriend, my mom, my little sister. I like cheese, but not like I'm
not like the way that the stereotype is over
my
there?
grandpa's nuts. This guy just sit there and cut cheese, nothing, no cracker, sausage, nothing, just straight cheese. Mom's the same way. I like string cheese. I like cheese on things, but I'm not like these guys.
Okay.
And to be honest, like
the cheeseheads as they call
I'd
them.
say more so than anything, they're drinkers. And like you guys think some people drink around here. That's a different story. There's a reason you can't buy alcohol after 9, no matter what it is. Here you can buy it at like 2 p.m. right? In Michigan, there it's like 9 p.m.
Wait, in Wisconsin?
Yeah,
in the whole state.
Whole state, pretty sure. Some places you might not even be able to buy it on Sunday. Like
really,
it's like I think it's the highest. It's the drunkest place in the world. I think it was. But it has like 5 of the drunkest cities in the world in the top 10.
Okay.
So 5 places from that state are in the top 10 of the drunkest places in the world. But yeah, I'd say more than anything, like cheese is big. I think obesity's huge too.
Okay.
Because we got cheese, brats, beer.
You guys have a good menu.
Very German town.
Milwaukee and stuff. Like Milwaukee has so many breweries.
I mean, hell, the baseball team's literally named Brewers in that case.
Yeah. It's a lot of drinking and cheese, but I'm not part of that one.
Okay, and obviously, I guess this question can spin off into the larger one that I feel like the fans are definitely waiting for, and I'll get to that in a moment, of course. But do you think, because it was a big story a couple of years ago, that the state of Wisconsin was trying to absolve the Upper Peninsula of Michigan because obviously it connects. Do you think the Upper Peninsula should be a part of Wisconsin?
Let's put it this way. When I get my troops rounded up and we train in my backyard, say goodbye to Escanaba.
I have a buddy up in Escanaba.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do I think it should be part of Wisconsin? Whoever, if you really want it, you got to fight over it, right? I mean, like, why would you guys just give it away?
So with you living in Michigan now, which team would you be a part of? Team Wisconsin or Team Michigan if that war would ever start for the Upper Peninsula?
I guess wherever the drafts, if I'm on the side of the lines when the draft comes, I guess I'm on this team. But if I'm on the other side, watch out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. So what actually happened with that? Wisconsin was going to have it, but then Michigan took it.
So there was a big, if I remember, because it was like, this was like probably like 10 years or so ago. And I think there's a group that's still like trying to fight or whatever, but someone had knitted the, because obviously Michigan's called the Mitten State. So what they did is they made Wisconsin into a mitten, and then you just see like the connection of the Upper Peninsula. And their big thing was like, we're going to try to get there because it's like, obviously we need to take a bridge to get there. And with you guys, it's connected. It's the only state that's connected to it. So that's why they were like, just, keep it there. And I don't know, I know history pretty well, but I don't know if like way back when all the states were getting situated, if the UP was a part of Wisconsin at some point, they were just like, nah, it's Michigan's now, like get bent.
As long as it ain't Canada's.
Okay.
I think it's fine. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. So I'd say leave it. I ain't going to really, I don't think we should have it or anything like that. It's cold. There's nothing there. That's actually a lot of the GLHL. A few of the teams we play, we go up to like Calumet, which is way up there.
Yeah.
On like that peninsula, in that peninsula.
Yeah.
And that was, the snow is like, it's like that. Every day, I was there for 3 days, and it snowed every day, like 6 inches. It's crazy.
Oh my god,
it's cool, but I don't think it's a state. I don't need a passport to get there, so
yeah,
you guys can have it. I like
so, and I guess this will lead into, because obviously that being kind of like a big thing where a lot of people feel some way about it. You only get one answer for this, and obviously we explained it to you before the show even started. What's your favorite conspiracy theory and why? Because obviously you are a big conspiracy theory guy.
But, the energy world, the world of the spiritual, like the air, like what's in the air, the energy, like a vibe. When you come into the room, you feel like, if it's good or bad type deal, like happiness, all that. You can feel it. So it must be real, but you can't see it. I was just listening on something on that. And it goes, it's a little deeper. It's more like about manipulation, like certain manipulation of like energy and stuff like that.
Like we as people can manipulate it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like, like technically, I'd say the biggest conspiracy I think is like, at the moment you have no free will.
Okay.
I don't even know if I want to say that one. That's not a theory. I don't want it to be that one because I ain't well versed enough in it yet.
Well, it's
But
kind
I
of
know it. Deep down, I can feel it. There's certain things you can feel.
So going on the one about free will, though, it's interesting you bring that up because about 2 months ago, I had read this article. I want to say it was like a New York Times or something, and there was, I forget the exact terminology of this guy's career that he does or whatever, but he made a book on how, because of course people say that like you make your, like the difference is like you either make your own actions or like everything is, predetermined for you. You just kind of fall in line with it. He had said that he doesn't believe that we necessarily have free will, but at the same time, it also like everything that we do beforehand determines our future. And the example that he brought up was, let's say you just bought this like new blue shirt or whatever, right? And you kind of wash it, hang it up or whatever, you let it go for some time. You always think about, oh, you have a new shirt or whatever, and then kind of like a couple days later, you think, you know what, I'm going to wear that shirt. And his rationale behind it was, you're not picking to wear that shirt. It was just it's been in your mind so many times.
That's why,
something like that. Yeah.
That's what kind of what I was trying to say. Is a lot of people think a lot of things are, you can't. I say this, and it's kind of hard to like conceptualize. But at the time, you don't have free will at this moment right now. None. It's all It's all mental before. This is just the result. So basically, I'd say everything is in your head. Everything.
Okay.
And everything else is projection of what you currently are, what your current mental, emotional, it's a combination of emotional and mental state. Because if you're feeling good emotions and thinking good things from those good emotions, you're going to think better. And you're going to picture, it's a loop. It's going to feed each other. So obviously good thoughts are going to lead to good emotions, and therefore you're walking around vibrating that higher, that better feeling. And all of a sudden, stuff that happens to you in, physical life, like what right now is better. Better stuff starts happening because you're in that vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're in that state. And that state, like attracts like for the most part. So, if you're feeling good and everything's going good, you're going to see a lot more good. I'd say, and that's kind of, at the moment, like no free will. I was saying is like, I can go out there right now, without, like, everything starts in the head. Like, you're not going to ever do anything ever without thinking about it first, mentally deciding it, so to say. So it's like, that's basically.
So it kind of goes back to what you're referring to, the whole energy manipulation type thing.
So, basically what I'm saying is yes.
Yeah.
So like, it wouldn't benefit me right now to just dump a whole bucket of pucks out and just start shooting them. But actually, at the moment it wouldn't. I'd probably be better off if I thought, what I'm saying? Like, you visualize it a certain way for a little bit. It's almost, it's hard to, kind of talk about what I'm trying to talk about, but it's like a flow state. You got to get into that state where everything, even though you're shooting pucks, you're doing the physical work, but everyone, like, you want to change the way you shoot. You're not just going to shoot and expect it to change. It's going to have to change in here.
Okay, yeah.
In the mind. You're going to have to see, you're going to have to feel it before you actually feel it. So, like, they work great hand in hand. So at the time, you have no free will. You got to sit, you got to feel it inside before anything can happen outside. So if you're going to get hit by a car, you might have been a week ago or 2 weeks ago daydreaming fearfully about getting hit by a car. And then all of a sudden it comes up and gets you. So to say, I guess, that's low-level conspiracy theory. That's a fact. It's obviously I ain't got no scientific kit to prove it right now.
The rationale, I could see the vision.
At the moment,
that's
at the time, I have no free will. It's all premeditated. And that's kind of thing, too. He comes back to your birthday. Like, I almost believe, like, in between is up to you, because there's many different outcomes. You know, obviously, depending on how you feel at the time, what you do with the time. But I feel like there's a day you're coming into the earth, and there's a day you're leaving. And in between there, you can do whatever, you know, suits you. But there's going to be certain things that are going to be more suitable. And that's kind of where it's weird you look at, like, numbers. Like, if you're, like, a 3, you're good at talking, communicating, things like that. Podcasts would be good.
Yeah.
Or like an 11. They're good at like talking, charisma, stuff like that. Athletes. But yeah, like in the weirdest part is you're going to be, obviously, if you're, you know, that's the energy you came in to the world with, you know, imprinted on you, your being, you know, then you're obviously going to be kind of more drawn towards those things naturally.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Here, so I was born on the...
So you have the free will, I guess, to wrap it up. You have the free will, but at the present moment, it's got to be mental. Everything's mental.
So
this is a result of it here.
So I was born on the 22nd. That's kind of always been like, you know, subconsciously my favorite number for everything. So what does like 22 mean necessarily?
Number master builder.
Really?
Yeah. So you're the it's a you reduce it down to 4, but you don't because it's 22.
Yeah.
So 22 is a master builder. Best bodybuilders are people that are really good at putting on muscle and actually, you know, good at building anything. So it's like if you want to start a business, you'd be great at that, like architecture, you know, stuff like that. You could build something into something, or the other end of it, it's the destroyer. So you can, if you like, you know, you don't manage it well, you can destroy it. Like you could turn everything, you can destroy things.
Okay.
So to say, so like Bradley Martin, you know who that dude is, born on the 22nd. There's a lot of female bodybuilders born on the 22nd, things like that. This other fitness dude, he's jacked, and he claims he ain't on steroids and stuff like that, which I actually kind of believe him, especially after knowing this. His name is Ryan Dengler. I don't know if you know.
I've heard of the name.
Yeah, he's a mutant, and you know, for not being on steroids, he's just huge. Born on the 22nd, like, you know, it's cool. You know, that's when you start seeing things like that. That's when you start kind of believing it.
Shoot, I think that skipped over me a little bit. I mean, I'm a twig in a way.
Yeah, but you never trained though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, that's true. Yeah,
you got to start. You know, that's how it goes. You know, if you start, you know, if you really like went hard at it, it might just happen that much faster for you than anyone else. You know.
Interesting.
Because, dude, I was 165 pounds.
Yeah.
Skinny, scrawny as hell. You know.
And then you just flip the switch and never look
back.
Yeah.
I gained like 20 pounds my first year, and then, you know, how much am I up now? I'm up like 50 pounds pretty much total, and you know, past 5 years, I'm a nutcase too. So ever since I flipped, there was no inconsistency, all just pedal to the metal, you know.
Okay.
And it works, but.
Now, I have a couple more questions, and then we'll get you out of here. Once again, thank you for coming on. This has been a very interesting and a very fun podcast episode to record with you. I cannot lie about that. So touching base on hockey here, favorite team growing. I know you had said that you necessarily like never stuck with the team, but what was one team that you watched growing up that kind of
So this one, that's a little, So like I if there was one team, it'd be the Blackhawks.
Okay. Because Milwaukee doesn't have a team, right? Never has.
Yeah, they have the Admirals in the AHL, but you know, yeah, Blackhawks. My grandpa was a big fan.
Okay.
Then when I first started playing hockey, I started when I turned 12. So, I mean, that was the first. I mean, I remember him before I even played hockey. I remember him. I was at his house when Kane won the Stanley Cup in 2010, like the first one they won of those 3. I was watching that with him, and I mean, he liked them. So, especially when I started playing, I really started watching them. Obviously, Patrick Kane, who's here now.
Yeah.
You know, I liked watching him growing up. Who didn't? You know, and yeah, Blackhawks, if anything, that was number one.
And who's your favorite player?
Favorite player ever?
Yeah.
I'd say still Kane was great. I like him. I liked a lot of guys. I like watching certain guys for certain things. Like, I like certain things about certain guys. Obviously, Kane's hands.
Yeah.
But overall, favorite player of all time, probably Ovechkin.
Okay, yeah.
You know, I just liked how, you know, he'd hit people, he'd fight, he'd score. He's, you know, nuts like me a little bit. You know,
yeah.
He's a good time, so that's who I like.
So final question, then we'll get you out. Once again, thank you for coming on, and we'll definitely have you back on soon.
Yeah, anytime, as long as it doesn't get taken down.
Favorite all-time hockey moment for Elias Thompson is? It could be anything, whether you watched it, experienced it, whatever. Just the one moment.
When I got cut from Band and B.
Okay.
No.
Oh.
Trying to remember. Yeah, probably the first goal. First goal that was the best one.
Like first goal you ever had?
Ever scored. Because I started at Pee Wee, second year Pee Wee. And there was the town where I played in, Wapaka, which was like 30 minutes up the road. And there's only one team. So you're on the A team. So I sucked. I was terrible. Whole first season. It was crazy, man. When I first started, I wanted to quit. Like, I went to that practice. I was good at every sport I did, on your feet. At the time, it was baseball, football. I was playing basketball. My dad's like, I'll drive you up the road. We're done with this. So I was like, yeah, I'll go play hockey, put everything on. And I didn't think anything of it. Mm-hmm. I couldn't skate. First practice, horrible. Afterwards, I was like crying because, I don't suck at things. So I was like, at the time, it never felt like that ever in my life. So I wanted to be done. And then I don't know what it was that night, but I made it just decided in my head, I'm gonna be the best at this. This sport. This is gonna be my number one sport. I'm gonna be the best. This is gonna be my new favorite. And ever since, by the end of that first year, I was getting close to scoring. Never ended up doing it. Could skate. Was on the pond every day. And I remember it was like my second year, first year band. I think it was the second weekend. I remember coming on right wing, and I wanted to score so bad at this time, whole season not scoring a goal. Shot it, low left side, still one of my favorite places to shoot, not like any goalie, and that's probably my favorite moment ever playing hockey. Then when, besides getting punched in the face, the other weekend.
Who wouldn't forget a first, memorable moment like that, regardless. But once again, Elias, thank you. Thank you for coming on. This has been a very fun, almost hour. I'm pretty sure this will be like the longest interview we've had so far.
I'm going to have to cut a lot.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, and Parker and I will be previewing this upcoming weekend's game. Do not want to miss that.
So that was the interview, ladies and gentlemen, with Elias Thompson. Hopefully you had fun watching it as Parker and I had fun being a part of it. So now let's look ahead to this upcoming weekend, March 8th, 9th, and 10th, to a 3-game home series. We have 2 against the Watertown Wolves on Friday and Saturday, and we finish off with the Blue Ridge Bobcats once again on the Sunday game to finish it off, and it's the last game against both of these teams for the regular season. A little head-to-head record to give you guys a little caught up. 3 wins and 2 losses against Watertown this year. 6 wins and 3 losses against Blue Ridge, and obviously, of course, we had swept the weekend series this past weekend. Once again, and I kind of alluded to it in the beginning about, how important these upcoming games are, and even the games way beyond that. I'm going to label these, all 3 of them, and, if they go 2 for 3, so be it. But these 3 are must wins. And the reason I say that, Parker, is because when you look at the remaining schedule for the Rockers, it is a tall order for them. You have 5 against Port Huron, 4 against Columbus, who, of course, we played pretty recently or whatever, and we all know kind of how that series went and whatnot. Even though we got to win, the other games were kind of, lopsided to an extent in their own way or whatnot. And then 1 against Binghamton, who, we may have caught up on them, but we know, we just saw how they play. They're some of the best teams in the league and whatnot, especially Columbus and Binghamton, because aren't those 2 teams really the 2 best?
Columbus and Binghamton, yes.
Yeah. And Port Huron in general, they're a good team. We'll give the flowers to them. And, when it comes to a rivalry, I don't care. You see in sports all the time. I don't care how good one team is and how, where the other team ranks. Rivalries will always be good.
Yeah.
Because you just know who you're going to go up against. So, in my personal opinion, I'll slide the floor over to you. Must win.
This weekend, for sure.
Yeah.
We had the number on Blue Ridge and Watertown all year.
Yeah.
I think we can. I don't even think we should drop a game.
I believe so
This
as
year.
well. I believe so.
Or this week. I do believe this is Watertown's first time coming here.
Come in Big Boy Arena.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, here, I'll do my research here.
But having Watertown come here, it's going to be a different situation if that's the case.
Yeah, no, this is the first time Watertown.
So Watertown is making the first trip down to Big Boy Arena. I think we've gone up there a couple times, we've lost a couple times, but I think coming in this weekend, I think we're stronger than ever. We might have someone come that I'm going to tell you off the show. But so it's one of those things where we need to be Watertown. Watertown's is last in our division.
Mm-hmm.
If we even lose a game, it's going to be a really bad testament to where we are this season. But we got Danny Vanderbilt real back. We got last time we played Watertown, Danny was coaching for us. Who else? I can't even think about it. Well, Danny's really the big piece we've had back.
Yeah.
We even got Lane King now.
Yeah.
I think this is the strongest this team has been all year. You've got to win this week.
Oh yeah, and especially, I mean, granted, we do have a game on hand against Danbury, so that kind of helps us out a little bit in terms of standings. But now we're only 6 points ahead of them. They have definitely
They're heating up.
They're heating up right now. Just within their last 10, they're 6-2-2. I mean, granted, we have a little bit of a better record of that by one game, but still, nonetheless, I mean, they've been heating up. They've been chipping away at that deficit, and being the 2 seed and 3 seed, that's different right there, depending on who you're going up against and whatnot. And for as long as Motor City has been in the 2 spot, I'm not going to say that they've been comfortable about it. I think it's just more maybe a testament to how Danbury has kind of buckled up and said, all right, let's kind of let's make them work for it. And that's why I said looking at the remaining 10 games after this upcoming weekend, or 9 or whatever. Yeah, my math might be wrong, but I'm not. Actually, no, it is 10. I'm not a mathematician. That's what I'm talking from, ladies and gentlemen. But 5 against Port Huron, 4 against Columbus, and 1 against Binghamton. It's like you have to go in with a nice cushion, because at the end of the day, also, you want to make sure that you can go into those games, and if you were to drop a couple or whatever, you can be like, okay, that's fine, because we went on, a nice little winning streak beforehand and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll look what you're on.
No, you're good.
I think it definitely. I wouldn't be too worried about Danbury. They did play Fort Huron a couple of times. They played Fort Huron last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They swept them. Fort Huron,
Yeah.
not a crazy win,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I mean, they won. Danbury got a point in the shootout, I believe, Friday, and then they won again on Saturday. So I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's great for them. But I think us as the Motor City Raptors have had better wins so far this year than Danbury has. Yes, did they beat Elmira 10-4?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Did they also let Elmira score on them 4 times? Elmira's not great either.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's another team I feel like has had a really soft schedule this year.
Yeah.
And they're in the place they are because of that soft schedule.
Oh yeah, and definitely. I mean, you can just see that within sports in many aspects. The scheduling, and even with Columbus or whatever. I mean, obviously, I'll give Columbus, their credit where they definitely do. Yeah.
Denver.
Still with Columbus, like when heading into the one series that we had against them at Big Boy Arena a couple weekends ago, you kind of look at their schedule and you kind of think like, okay, like that's where the position they're in. Yeah, obviously, like I said, they're still a great team nonetheless. But of course, an easier schedule can kind of help out, and of course, it just with as I would say easy as the past couple weeks have been, with last weekend and this weekend now for the Rockers, that's where I just feel like you gotta capitalize on that, because clearly these other teams have capitalized, on their kind of softer periods, or as well as I'll put it, and with kind of a very large meal getting served to you, coming up. You gotta eat it all. You gotta clean the plate there, and within those 10 games, I mean, if you split those 10 games, obviously it all depends on what Danbury does in their final games. Don't get it twisted, because obviously they're the team that you got to keep an eye out for, and you can't control their destiny at all. Only they can. But if you can split that, I would say you're in a good position. You definitely can't lead those last 10 games after this weekend with a losing record. You just can't, because at that point, you're kind of to put your hope on another team. I think in any sport in general is not a good thing to do, because you're not on that team. You're not playing for them. You're not being that head coach or whatever. You're basically just watching the TV, watching the box score, being like, oh, please, 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 don't get a goal or whatnot. And then, so I think, they definitely they have to win. I think the Rockers do have the capability of, next week when we're making, the next episode of this podcast /show, we're talking about it's a 3-game sweep. They're on a nice little winning streak. Now here we go. We're about to go up against Fort here on I'm pretty sure it's a 3-game series next weekend.
Yep, and that could determine who wins the I-90 on the Battle of I-94.
Yeah, and that in general as well. There's more to these last 10 games after this weekend than meets the eye. And in a way, I'm not trying to look over this weekend, because never take an opponent lightly in any regard. But at the end of the day, with how the Rockers have been playing, because I agree with you, I think that they're in the best shape that they have been, especially in my time that I've been in here ever since the beginning of January and whatnot. They're definitely in a position to where they're feeling more comfortable. They're getting these big time wins against the Columbus, against the Binghamton, while in their home arena and whatnot, to where it has to kind of carry and push them forward. And only time will tell. Obviously, as we make this show, that we'll just keep giving our thoughts and whatnot. But I truly think that as microlabel is concerning, but just keep your eyes open. Keep your eye on a swivel when you're dealing with a schedule like this. But I truly think that the Rockers, they can do well this weekend, and even next weekend, and the weekends after that. I think that 4-game stint against Columbus, 4 straight games against them, will be a very telling moment. But at the same time as well, it's like I said, Columbus, they're the best team in the league for a reason.
They still beat them, though.
Exactly, and I know that this team, they're not going to go into it looking at other records, other score boxes, kind of like, teeth chattering like it's a Scooby-Doo episode, and they're just, opening up the door and seeing the ghost or whatever. Like, they're a team to where, it might take them a couple, that first game to get the rust off, as we've said in this show before or whatnot. But after that rust is off, they never look back, and clearly we have seen that. And I mean, we even saw it last week, because like you said, that Friday game maybe it was just kind of just shaking off, getting the weekend started. Saturday came, all Rockers, no break. They never looked back at that game whatsoever. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend, because it's kind of like, it's just exciting, because the playoffs are on the corner. You want to get these wins. And, I will definitely say it definitely helps that they just faced the Bobcats, so, a little recency, how they're going to play or whatnot. And in terms of Watertown coming here, they're going to realize, that this is Big Boy Arena. This is where the Rockers play or whatnot. They may have played 5 games in your arena, or stadium, whatever they want to call it, throughout the season, but now it's time to come to our house. And they're going to show it. I truly think so. My predictions will end up with predictions like this. I'm going to go with this clean sweep, 3-0. We're going to, drop it there with that. In terms of some players to watch there, obviously, I'm going, I think I've really kept up with it in the past couple weeks in terms of having interviewees, coming out or whatever. Honestly, keeping an eye out for Elias Thompson, because you never know or whatever, keeping the nice little streak of the show going on.
Scully did not score a goal, so
he did not. And I did at one point tell him, if you score a goal, I'll buy you wings after the game. So that didn't happen, but I guess the offer will still stand. We'll see about that. But in general, too, I think keep your eye out for Scott Koech. He's just been kind of on a tear lately as well.
He's about 1.2 points per game. Right?
Yeah, he's just been a freak of nature with it. So yeah, I'll definitely say it. He is someone, a part of the team amongst many others, that knows that now is the time to buckle down and get it going. So Parker, hit us with your preview.
Scott's he's the most reliable shooter. I'm gonna go with the dark horse here. Now, I don't know. I don't know if this is a dark horse or not. I think, first I'll give my series predictions. I personally think we're gonna go 2-3.
Okay.
2 for 3. I think there's gonna be one game we drop. It's gonna be the one night. And it's just gonna be a bad night. I don't know. Do I think they should sweep? Yes, but I think it's going to go 2 for 3. I have a feeling Jonathan Giuliano's going to have 2 goals.
Okay. In like one game or the whole weekend?
The whole weekend.
Okay.
And we want to think about what number is he? What days do we? I got to think like Elias.
Yeah, I think like Elias with the numbers now. Yeah. That's how we're going to be making our predictions from here on out, just on that
Oh, yeah.
numbers and whatnot. Isn't he 53? More or less, saying that.
So it's 8. 8. We play on the 8. Jonathan Giuliano, March 8th goal.
Friday.
Yep.
Friday it's happening.
Jonathan Giuliano, 2 goals on March 8th.
And speaking of, on March 8th as well, we have a nice little promotional night or whatever going on as well. Do you want
So
to share
it's
with us?
Yeah, it's $1 hot dog night. Come out, get a hot dog for $1. I mean, that's really it. Also, Sunday Funday's back. You get 2 tickets and a bucket beer for $40. But in my personal opinion, no night is more important than youth sports night on March 16th.
Yeah.
So basically the goal of March 16th in youth sports night, we want to recognize you and the youth sports teams out there, youth sports organizations that have been working so hard to bring the joy and passion of sports to kids. I think that it would be a great opportunity for you all to come out here, be recognized during the second intermission. Also regarding youth sports night, one team will walk away that night with a donation of $1,000 from the Motor City Rockers. So
1,000 big league right there. Can't beat that.
1,000 bones to help your organization. So
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing opportunity. Tickets are only $10 for you for people that are involved at youth sports night. So if you want your team or your organization is watching this show, please get in contact with me
Oh yeah.
or Connor. It doesn't have to be me. It could be Corben. You could be like, hey, Corben.
Yeah.
But yeah, get in contact with one of us, me preferably, that you could for youth sports night. I'd love to see you all there. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have some great promotions. We always have a great promotion coming on. Can never beat that. One thing I have missed, though, I've missed the theme jerseys. I mean, I know we do have one coming up.
We have technically 2.
2. Okay, well, I know about
I'm not gonna say anything.
I'll wait to get
But
the.
one might be green.
I think we all know which day that could be coming up for when we have a home game. But yeah, big weekend coming up. After that, it's the playoff time. It's spring. The weather's getting a little nice. Might be a little chaotic at times. You know, it might be getting cold. I mean, when we step out, it's gonna be a little chilly. Don't get it twisted. But the air's changing. The vibes are changing. All right, in general. And I mean, hey, this might not be the correct sport, but it's March Madness, baby. All right, things are gonna get mad real quick. And in general, I cannot wait to see it. Cannot wait to see you guys there. And if you walk past in your partner, just give us a little fist bump or whatever, you know. And thank you to everyone who has, at least to me, has said, you know, complimented the show or whatnot in person. I appreciate it. Still a little surreal moment at times, but hey, I'm working on it. But yeah, any last thoughts, Parker, before we head out of here?
Not really.
Just come on down.
Come on down.
Just come on down and enjoy some good hockey over here at Big Boy Arena. And even you can get this Meyer Party suite. Why not?
You gotta contact Connor. That you can't
Yeah,
contact me.
yeah, not me either. Definitely a product.
313-944-0652. Or seriously, shit. 313-944-0625. You can call Connor at that number.
Put that in your phone right now. Get
Yes.
the suite. You can get food and whatnot. Have a whole on party, ladies and
Here's the
gentlemen.
number.
Yes. But that is the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you had fun like we always do. And yeah, go Rockers, and we will see you guys next week. Cheers.